Do you ever hear the term blowing off steam? It means to release pent up emotions and or energy, often, through vigorous activity, talking, or other stress relieving actions. Doing something or saying something that helps get rid of your strong feelings of tension or excess energy. I would always say that there was something really powerful about a good swear-a-thon when you're upset.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I love my little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather have a big bow wow 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 wow. Daddy
Hello
wasn't
and welcome to the
finding
Mochiverse.
a
I'm
bow
Linette,
wow.
And I'm Skip.
and this is our area to blow off steam.
Yeah,
Usually it's more positive, but sometimes, the parts that don't get into the episode. We
yeah. Oh,
So is this
absolutely.
saying have you did when you did your research on this, does this relate in any way to the idea of venting? Is it the same thing?
It's the same thing. It typically involves physical activity, running, playing sports, exercising, or emotional release, like talking, complaining,
Hmm.
expressing frustration. For me, a lot of times there would be like playing tennis, hitting the ball off a wall, or
Right.
playing a tennis match. It's like transfer of that stress or whatever it is into emotional release, like hitting the ball.
Right.
Some people would joke, you see somebody's face on the ball when you hit it, or
Yeah.
something like that. Quite literally, I mean, it comes from steam engines,
Hmm.
originates with steam engines, which is obvious.
Right. They have to have a
uh,
way to ventilate steam or else they'll explode.
exactly. They would really require a valve
Yeah.
to release the excess steam to prevent explosions. And that's, if you think about it, that's really what we're talking about.
Oh,
You
sure. Absolutely.
you ever get so upset that you feel your head's going to explode, and if you have some kind of a release that can get you out of that. I mean, a good release, not like drinking yourself stupid or anything
Right.
like
Doing
that.
something that's
It just
harmful. Yep.
a release is like, to me, I always look at it as physical. It could be a physical release, or as I said, a swear-a-thon. Uh,
Yes. Mine is
you know,
usually that. Yeah.
yeah.
Mine usually consists of complaining about something and ranting about whoever is unfortunate enough to listen for a while and then saying all the things I want to say that I can't say about it, and then it's done and then I feel great. But the
Yes.
problem, yeah, I really do. But the problem is because I'm weird. I don't know if I'm weird or if other people feel this way. But after I've done that, I immediately feel this like hangover from it of
Mm.
sort of guilt, but sort of also like I need to explain myself again now because I don't really feel this way.
Yeah.
Usually when
Yeah.
I'm ranting, I say a lot of things that I only feel right now.
Hmm.
And then it's done. And then I'm like, okay, I feel better now. And most people understand that. But the thing is that when a similar situation is coming, you can kind of tell the people around you are like, oh, Lynette doesn't like that. We know she does. I'm like, no, 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 I'm fine. It's when it
Mm.
builds up 50,000 times and I hate it.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
problem. Not that every single time is not a problem. I'm okay. I'm not like, you know.
Yeah. I also think that there is some value to expressing things before they get to that point.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll get these little frustrations that build up, and then something triggers them, and for seemingly no reason at all, to at least the people around you. you
Right.
know you ever have that when you do that and you say something, you're blowing off steam, and they look at you like, what's your problem?
Where's this
I
coming
didn't
from?
what did
Right.
I do? And
Yeah.
it's that excess thing. you know
Well, and it's because of the nature, if you're a person like that, like I am, is
hmm
that I can handle most things for quite
yeah.
a while. And I'm
hmm
cool to handle most things. And I like the fact that I can handle most things. But then
yeah.
after a while, because you're a handler, other
Mm.
people are always putting stuff. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
eventually you're handling too much and it's too much. And then you have to like dump it. But then they're like, oh, I thought you could handle. I thought you could handle all that. Why can't you now? You know what I mean? So it's like an awkward thing.
Yeah, I think, for me, it takes a lot to get me to get
Yeah.
to that point. And then when I do, it's like what I just said, people
Yeah.
look at you like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
So I've learned over the years that there are things you can do. You can, like some people, I always say that the physical activity is one key for me. Like people will like to go for a long run. And instead of arguing, they play a friendly game of basketball.
Yeah.
And the worst part of that is the shouting. And then, people will say, oh, he's just blowing off steam. He doesn't really mean to hurt anybody. But in the meantime, you might hurt somebody,
Yeah.
by your words. So I think that, as I say, I said that swear-a-thon thing. I think a lot of times that can release it, because if especially if it's not in character,
Yeah.
you know, it's always good. It's like, hey, blow it out your butt,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of times when people were very surprised by things I've said because
Mhm.
I usually have a mask on that's I'm not saying not me, but it's a version of my personality that's much more pleasant, easygoing, and chill and not bitchy, and most things just roll off my back.
Mm.
And so when I will do like a little steam valve,
Mhm.
if I have a particular interaction with somebody that was annoying or whatever, and then I'll say something, they like look at me like, "Did you just say that?" Nice, Lynette just said that. It happens less than it used to because I'm older. But
Right.
when I was younger, I would be like perfectly one way, and then all of a sudden I'd say something like, I can't believe you just said that." Like
Yeah.
that's something I would say. I'm like, no, I'm a person just like you. I just I usually bury it for a while, and then
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes
I
up.
think, it's a lot of times when you're in a position of responsibility
Yeah,
and you're constantly being approached. After a while, there is the frustration with the constantly being approached can manifest itself with a blowout.
yeah,
As much as you try not to do it, but you try to, when that happens, you just try to calm yourself down. The work environment can do that too, especially. I always felt, and I've said this to you personally, is that being a working supervisor is probably one of the hardest things you ever have to do, because
yeah,
you have your own job to do and you're constantly being interrupted by your people that work for you,
yeah,
which interrupts your job and adds to your frustration. So anyway, that's,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
digressing a little bit, but that's a
No,
lot
but
of times
that's
it's a work environment. So,
yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely true. And it's like the other part of that, which is related to what we were saying too, is when you are interrupted and it does frustrate you, you have to keep in perspective that you still want these interruptions. I want these people to ask me questions. I really do.
mm,
Because I
yep,
want to teach them and help them and work with them. And I
right,
want them to grow and be able to, be just as great or whatever,
yep,
however I'm perceived. And
yep,
so when I feel frustrated, I kind of lecture myself later,
mm,
because I have to remind myself that no, this is what you want. You want them to come to you because you want to help. And so whenever they come to you 10,000 times, it's like, it's okay. This is what you want. This is good.
is
This is a
it,
good thing. They're not doing a bad thing because you don't want them
yeah,
to stop doing that either because you don't want them to be afraid to come to you or anything like that.
no, you don't. I always try to make it productive. When I felt like the same question was being asked multiple
Yeah.
times
Hmm.
and I was answering it the same way multiple times, I felt it was time to give that person direction.
Like a little
Just
refresher.
say,
Yeah.
this is where you're going to find the answer.
Yeah.
Try this. If that doesn't work, come back to me and we'll help you work
Yep.
through it.
I
You
like
know,
doing
and
that too because it gives them the power to try and figure it out first too.
yeah, it makes them better, because when you can do stuff on your own, the majority of people feel better when they can do stuff on their own. So It's like you don't like being told what to do because you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it's the
No, absolutely. Because they
parent-child
also,
thing. Yeah,
yeah, you don't want to feel that way.
yeah.
And when you work with someone who's experienced, that can be really tough because you always feel like you're asking them something. You don't want to bother them and everything. But one of the strategies, it was a simple strategy, but it really, I use it a lot and it really helped. It was in a meeting at one point. If you want somebody, if somebody is, good way to put this, if there's somebody who's like not really progressing the way they should, or they're having a lot of trouble with one particular thing, it's
Right.
just like a blind spot for them.
Hmm.
One of the good things to do is to have them be responsible for training somebody else in that task.
Mm,
And you
yeah.
don't like they're not on their own or anything, but if you see somebody is like, this one struggles with this particular task, they can do it, but they struggle. So
Hmm.
we have a brand new person here. Uh, I'm going to put that person in charge of showing this person that thing. And at
Yeah.
first they're going to be like, what? But then they do it a few times and they get the confidence to explain it. And they realize they know it better than they think they do. Because it's most of the time it's a confidence thing. It's not that they don't know something. Most of the time it's that they're kind of afraid to make the mistake. So they kind of hesitate. And
Yeah.
when you have them responsible for showing somebody else how to do it, they realize they can do it just fine. And then they have more confidence in themselves and they do it better.
Yeah. And you
So,
realize in all this conversation, you realize these are strategies to minimize the blowing off steam.
yes. See how useful that is? See, listen, anybody who doesn't say at the end of one of our episodes that you learn something every time isn't listening closely enough.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, what we got is a bunch of, like I like to have some quick hitters.
Yep.
This one I sort of dispute a little bit when I read it, but
Hmm.
uh, I'm not sure whether it evolved backwards or not. But SOS
Okay.
means save our ship, right? Is that what it means?
I've heard
Uh,
many things about SOS, but yeah,
yeah, it's like it doesn't stand for anything.
no.
It really is just a distress signal that's easy to submit because it's three dots, three dashes, three dots. And
Yes.
I think personally, I think that when you start with the Morse code, when you first do these things, I always look at this. If you develop something a certain way, the first thing you start to look at, if you do look things in the way that you normally would break down a task, you'd say, okay, why do we have this?
Hmm.
If we have this as to get somebody's attention urgently, how do we do it? So then it sort of derives from that. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion. Basically, what I've seen of this is that it derives from it started here, and then from
Yeah.
there they developed the Morse code. That's
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't
And
have
that's
any.
what I think that's what the general consensus is now, because
Mhm.
basically it was just a distinctive pattern that people could easily recognize, right?
Yep.
D, 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 so
Yep.
that you couldn't mistake it for something else.
Yep.
But as humans, we really love to find patterns in things and we really
Yep.
love to find meaning in things.
Right.
And so we created, and by the way, do you know what that term is called when you create something like save our ship or save our souls from
No.
nothing?
What's it
It's a
called?
it's called a backronym,
Oh,
which is a
wow.
very
Cool.
cool word. Yes,
Yeah.
because you're making an acronym backwards, basically.
Yeah. And
So
that,
yeah.
yeah, it's actually, listen, that's kind of, to me, I've always looked at, I looked at it that way on attacking a project. For example, when I was doing some research and development, you look at the problem. The problem was a change in a manufacturer, so we
Hmm.
had to find a way to adapt to it. So you
Right.
work it backwards,
Work it backwards. Yeah.
and once you solve that particular problem, then you develop other products from that or other approaches from that. So
Yep.
that's a good terminology. I like that one. So
It is. Oh, it's very good. And
yeah.
one more thing that should convince you that SOS doesn't actually mean anything in English is that that code was not originally English language. So the people who created the SOS Morse code as a code were the Germans. So
Oh,
it doesn't make sense that it would mean something in English anyway.
right. Yeah, there you go.
So there you go. There's that one last piece of little evidence that it doesn't mean
Eh,
save our ship or save our souls.
right.
Uh, Although May Day is an interesting one too. Speaking of things like that, I think May Day actually does originate. And I believe, I don't know if this is true because I didn't do the research, but I believe that May Day originates from a French word, which is M apostrophe AIDER, which is help me. May Day.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
We'll have to research that one. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. I like that
that's
one.
cool. Yeah, so this one's common knowledge that the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock.
Anybody who came from Massachusetts and went on that field trip to Plymouth knows that nothing can land on Plymouth Rock except maybe a bird.
Right. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like 2 feet wide.
And then, so they really landed in Provincetown
Yeah.
and signed the Mayflower Compact there.
Yeah.
Plymouth came like 5 weeks later.
Oh, yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
mean, that makes sense.
yeah.
Did you ever go to see Plymouth Rock?
No, I didn't. No.
So I went to Plymouth on a field trip,
Hmm.
and I'm glad they didn't end with this. I'm glad they started with the rock. Okay. So they take the group of us out to where it is, and it's on the ocean, on like a
Hmm.
boardwalk thing. And you walk on
Yep.
the boardwalk, and then you come up to a square bit of fencing, like iron fence.
Hmm.
And then you all lean down and you look, and it's like a well, like a hole in
Yep.
the fencing. And it's just some sand and a very, very small rock that says like 1492 on it. It's like
That's
really small.
yeah,
And you're like, there
that's
it is.
yeah, that's like kissing the Blarney Stone.
Exactly. And you're like looking at it going, was it Gulliver's Travels? Were they like Lilliputians who landed on Plymouth Rock? And then after that, you went to Plymouth Plantation, which was vastly more interesting because it has all the actors and the cool
Yeah,
old houses.
that's
And
kind
yeah,
of cool. Yeah, I knew Plymouth Rock wasn't very big.
no,
Um,
it's very
yeah,
funny how small it
yeah.
is. Yeah, it's
And
really like you bring kids to look at it and expect them to be impressed. It's very
yeah,
funny.
and that when I talk about the Blarney Stone, I remember one of the big things about the Blarney Stone is you could kiss the Blarney Stone.
Yes.
And basically what they do, I don't think I have that picture anymore, but they had a picture of my Aunt Franny, and they
Oh
they
my gosh.
held her
Yeah, you
upside down
have to.
so she could kiss the Blarney Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's on the edge of the wall of,
Hmm.
is it like a building that's on
I think
it,
I'm not
it's like the edge
sure.
of a castle or building or something.
Right.
And sorry for our Irish listeners who know all about this. I've never been, but my cousins went. But yeah, you
Yeah.
have to lay on your back
Yep.
and then somebody has to help you lean all the way backwards like you're getting your hair washed.
Yep.
And then you kiss the point and that's like I honestly, I don't want to do it. It's too
I just,
awkward.
yeah, that's hopefully whoever they are is a good grip, no matter who you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna fall in between and get my head stuck,
Yeah,
and then it's like, well,
yeah,
there she went.
yeah. There's the myth the slaves built the pyramids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they were built. Egyptologists say that ancient construction job was a great honor. That was only granted to respected laborers, you know, and they actually entombed them near the site. It reminds me of when we were in Italy. There was one building called the Duomo, I think it was called,
Oh yeah.
and the gentleman that designed and built it spent his whole life building that.
Yeah.
So, and
Oh
he
yeah.
was an artist. So,
Oh, they were
uh,
amazing, the things that they built. And I've heard there's actually a lot of discussion about the pyramids and things like, oh, they couldn't have possibly. And that's the origin of the whole like aliens built the pyramids thing,
yep.
is because they're so good that it couldn't possibly be people because they were so long ago that they couldn't possibly be advanced like us and we couldn't even do it. And it's like, do you hear yourselves like being so nasty, first of all, but also super racist and like to assume that an ancient civilization wouldn't have been as good as you, like just because they're not around anymore. Like they,
All you would have to do, in my mind, to satisfy that perception would be to visit,
Yeah.
Countries like Italy and Germany and France, and see things that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, and the
Oh, God,
craft
yeah.
that's into them, quite honestly, doesn't exist
No.
to that level anymore. And they didn't have the tools that supposedly we have now that are more sophisticated.
No, which makes
Uh,
it even better, you know,
yeah,
in my opinion. And yeah, I have not done a lot of actual traveling, but I've done a lot of armchair traveling, because I
yeah,
love to look at things. And it's amazing the things that people did. You see all these old city, and yeah, Europe is a big example of that, but
yep,
every continent, every country, there could be places you could go to see older civilizations and how amazing they were. And then when you go to Europe and you think about what happened in the 40s to a lot of Europe, and that stuff's still there,
yep, yep.
and it's still amazing. People are like living in it too. Like,
Yeah, though they are,
you know,
I know you said you didn't travel, but you've gone to the church in Charlestown, St.
yes.
Mary's Church.
Hmm.
Just think about the craft that went into what is there,
Amazing.
that was done by hand, and
Yep.
that church is hundreds of years old.
Yep.
Uh,
Churches and
and
cathedrals are amazing to me. And I'm not a religious person at all, but I love going to old churches and old cathedrals. And we've done that every time we've traveled, like,
yep,
to different states.
yep,
We went to that one in Savannah. It was nice.
mhm,
But when I went to Canada, we went to this cathedral in Quebec, and it was gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you
yep,
can see why people just go and look. You don't have to go there for a religious service. You just go in there and go, wow,
yeah.
this is freaking
And as I
incredible.
say, I go back to what I said, that they didn't have the tools,
Yeah,
and they'd be there with a chisel and
yeah,
all kinds of woodworking tools or plaster tools, whatever kind of tools they would use to shape granite. And it would be, it just, to me, it's amazing. And I think that nowadays they just don't build them like that anymore. Actually,
no,
it'd be too expensive because the craftsmen, what you would have to pay them, and even if you didn't pay them top wage, how long it would take them to do it
yeah.
would be extremely costly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's their whole life and many people's lives. And then
yeah,
of course, read about the people that died building those things, which is also
yeah.
cool. I mean, it's not cool that they died, but it's cool to know that generations of people worked on things like that.
I got this is a couple of odd things. Galactic etiquette tip:
Oh,
no full-fledged burps among astronauts. Without gravity's help, the bubbles in an astronaut's stomach don't separate from liquids. They try to burp, and you
uh,
might get a wet burp.
oh, gross.
The
uh,
trouble, obviously space travel upends all your normal bodily functions, and they have to adapt. That's part of the training, why it takes them so long for training before they go into space, because they have to adapt all these quirky things.
yeah.
That
I guess the
body does.
obvious next question is, does that work the other way too?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure it does.
Oh no.
Yeah. Don't want to go into that too much, but
No, and there
uh,
is, by the way, if anybody's interested, there are transcripts that you can find online of the things that astronauts did say that didn't make it to the
mhm,
media at the time, like
yep,
from the 60s and stuff. And some of the stuff they said to each other is hilarious because
yeah,
they figured, like,
yeah.
that Houston wasn't listening.
It was exactly, but everything is listening,
Uh,
everything's recorded.
Yep.
So here's another. These are sort of like a few odd facts. You know that your eyes are not live streaming reality.
Right.
By the time your brain processes the light hitting your retina is about 50 milliseconds later. You see what just happened,
Hmm.
not what's happening right now.
Right.
It's too brief to notice, but it is the perception isn't instantaneous. It's interesting. You always think about it, you're always glimpsing a moment that's already slipped into the past.
It's true. And
Yeah.
for a minute, you just sounded like that scene from Spaceballs, too. It's right now.
It,
You're seeing it's happening right now.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I had a thought that runs through my head is that all of a sudden, you're sitting there and then this thought comes in that 50, 60 years ago, oh, I wrote that letter and I said that. I can't believe I said that.
Usually at 11:35 at night when you're trying to
Yeah,
fall asleep.
exactly. It flies in the face of something that I say frequently when someone says, and I'm not going to say who says it, when someone says that, that person, they're always out to get me. Well, they don't even think about you.
No, they
Well,
don't
the
think about you.
reality is your brain does process those things, but very briefly. And if you're sharp enough, I guess is the best way to say it, you dismiss it as saying, okay, this is ridiculous. This something happened 60 years ago that
Yeah.
means nothing. Uh,
Yeah,
anyway,
hopefully. But the nights are hard, folks. Sometimes we have to put on Bob's Burgers so that we don't think about the things that we said in third grade.
oh yeah, it's sort of crazy. It's something that when I think about it, is it's I think I've said this to you before. I'd see somebody and they'd remember something that I had no memory of at all.
Yeah.
And I think if I think about it a little bit, then it just sort of makes sense because I do the same thing. There is something that someone said to you or something you said that has made an impact on you,
Right.
that sometimes you don't even realize that that's true. I always say we're sort of a function of all previous experiences in our lives,
Yeah.
including experiences that our parents gave us, or our
Oh, yeah.
grandparents gave us, or our brothers gave it to us, or our sister gave it to us, our friends gave it to us, whatever it is. And those experiences make up us and our personality and how we react to things.
Oh, absolutely. It was a funny example of that several years ago. We were working, and I don't remember the the thing that was said. I don't remember the circumstances, but somebody said something really funny to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, that's really funny. And they just looked at me and they said, you said that. Like it was a joke I had made previously. I'm like, wow, I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Just, hey, listen, I get reminded all the time. You already said that, or I already told you that. That's always a
Oh,
that's always a good one to,
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
that's
it,
why you and I both say before we say most things, I think I already told you this before,
mm,
but
yeah, exactly. We try to do that because we've covered so many subjects, so many different approaches to things that we've already said it.
oh,
So
yeah.
we just have to say that. We say, hey, listen, I might have said this to you before.
We don't want people
Um,
to think that we forget stuff,
yeah, it's
even
not.
even though we
We
do.
Even though we do, yeah, that's right. This one, I don't know whether we talked about this one before. Believe it or not, your nose is always in your field of vision. Did you know
Yes.
that?
I think
Yeah.
I, yes, I think I gave you that one in an early episode
Yeah.
because your
Okay.
nose is
Yeah.
right there. And you can see it. You're actually
Yep.
but you're not perceiving it because it's like right there. And then as soon as somebody says that to you, you cross your eyes a little bit.
You look.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I
there's my
can see
nose.
it.
Yep.
And basically what it is your field of vision knows it's there but ignores it.
Right. Yeah,
That's
it needs to. Otherwise, you'd just be thinking about your nose all the time. And
you'd be
it's
you'd I mean, you'd be talking to somebody and you're looking at your nose anyway.
I just instead of what I really do is look at other people's no. Actually, no. Whenever somebody talks, I don't know if other people do this. I hope so.
Mhm.
When you're talking to somebody, you know how like you're supposed to make eye contact?
Yep.
I can't do that. So if you're a person who can't make eye contact, do you look at a different part of the face?
At their lips or their
Yes.
chin or something like that. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
actually always look at someone's teeth. And I don't want anybody that I know to be self-conscious or anything because I actually love teeth and I love
Yeah.
how teeth are different and everybody has like unique teeth and stuff. It's fascinating to me. But whenever somebody's talking, I'm always looking at their teeth.
Yeah.
Their teeth are the ones that are doing the talking for me.
Yeah, and I probably looking at the mouth is because there are times when I don't hear everything.
Yeah,
So
me
I
too.
use that to try to get the words exactly right. It's just another piece of the puzzle for me.
Oh yeah.
Um,
That's another reason I do it too, especially like I have a drive-through where I work and the
mm,
audio isn't good, so I have to do that to know what these
uh,
people are saying sometimes, but I just trained myself to do it, but it is so much easier to have a conversation with someone and look at their mouth than
yeah,
to make eye contact. Because when you make eye contact, if you're a person like me, you're thinking about how long you're making eye contact because you don't want to do it for too long and you don't want to do it for too short. So now you haven't heard a thing they're saying because you're thinking about, okay, one, two, three, four. Okay, look away. Okay.
yeah. Well, sometimes they think as opposed to if they're not saying anything, they think you're staring at them too. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So
God.
speaking of all this is
Yeah.
one more thing, and then you probably have some. I'm sure you have some things going on.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
human brain generates about 50,000 thoughts a day. Remember, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
It's a factory of ideas, worries, fantasies, plans. They vanish instantly. Most thoughts vanish instantly, but if you understand the mental chatter, it's endless. It helps embrace mindfulness or find ways to harness our inner voice productively.
Right.
That's, hey, this is what we were just talking about, just how your mind works and you're remembering stuff and yeah, once you understand that, you become more zen. Okay. Anyway.
Yes. Yep. I know I get that way. And you learn more about the way that you communicate and the way that others communicate, which will
Yep.
make you a better communicator. Because I have increasingly more people in my life who communicate in a similar way to me, which is great.
Yep.
Where it kind of like you and I, where we'll be talking about something and all of a sudden it'll remind us about something else, and then we talk about that something else. Or like my pharmacist that I work with, he and I are very similar in that we think in movie quotes and song lyrics and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody will say a word and all of a sudden a TV show line will come into their head or a movie line, and we just say it now.
Yeah.
We didn't used to because that's not what you're supposed to do like
Right.
in like normie society. But now
Mhm.
we're comfortable enough with each other. We just like say the thing and then we look at each other like, you know what that's from? Huh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like it's funny that that happens. Do you ever have something you say something at exactly the same time as the other person?
Yeah.
I did yesterday. We were talking, and this one woman very seriously was talking about people don't want they want you to pick up off the lawn, you know, and when they poop and pee, and at the same exact time, at the same exact words, me and this guy Mike said, "You can't pick up pee." It was just you know it was just like we just said it exactly the same time.
Yeah,
It
you
was so
guys were in
funny,
sync.
yeah.
Do you
Eh,
do you remember the SNL the Jinx skit?
which skit?
The skit where they were jinxing each other and they did the song? It was like
I probably remember it. I've seen so many SNL skits.
unfortunately, that whole song is in my head still, but it was like they
Uh,
said something at the same time and they were doing the Jinx Buy Me a Coke.
uh,
And then it went into a song like Inky Dinky Pinky Winky, flush it down the kitchen sinky. And I know that whole song now. And whenever somebody says Jinx Buy Me a Coke, I sing the rest of that whole song in my
in your
head.
head.
The King of France wet his pants right in the middle of a ballroom dance. Yep.
Oh,
And I guess the premise of the sketch was that instead of just saying Jinx buy me a Coke, which is what people say, they had to
mhm.
do that whole thing, which is like 30 seconds long every time they jinxed each other.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they did it like 5 times. It's really long. This is like
Yes,
old SNL. We're talking
old
like
SNL. Yeah.
70s, late 70s, maybe early 80s SNL.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I accidentally have a theme to my stuff.
Oh, there you go.
The
Theme's
stuff I
always good.
found is all movie stuff. Well, except for one thing. Well, actually, no, because I didn't research that, so I don't have that last thing. But yeah, all my stuff that I found is all movie related, which is, apropos
Yeah.
to me. But it just happened that way. So there you go. So the first little set of snippets that I got is, movie titles,
Hmm.
but how they are translated in other countries for the audience of that country.
Yeah.
So there's millions of these, of course, because there's millions of movies. So I just picked some,
Hmm.
but I got the original fact from my QI book. And so it says that in Hong Kong, the movie Fargo was released under the title Mysterious Murder in Snowy Cream. And so I just quickly looked up a few others. So Free Willy, the movie Free
Hmm.
Willy. In China, the title of that movie is A Very Powerful Whale Runs to Heaven, which for anybody who's watched Free Willy, that's not what happens to Free.
Yeah.
He didn't die, guys. He's okay. Free Willy just like jumped over the stones and he's like in the ocean now. It's okay.
Yeah.
He didn't run to heaven. But that was cute. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yep.
And I think this is referring to, hopefully, the Gene Wilder version.
Yep.
Um, in Denmark, the title of that movie is called "The Boy Drowned in the Chocolate Sauce."
Yeah.
Now, in the
There's an
book, he did, but I don't think he drowned in the movie.
yeah, I think that actually Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory isn't that more about abusing kids or something like
Yes, the
that.
book is
Yeah.
like the kids die in the book.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, but in the movie they made it a little gentler. But the mother thought he was gonna die. He's,
Yeah.
and he made to do marshmallows in 5 seconds. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. That tube doesn't go to the marshmallow room. It goes to the fudge room.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. So in Argentina, the movie Grease is called Vaseline.
Oh, okay. That sort of makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. And this is one of your favorites, The Parent Trap.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In Germany was called A Twin Seldom Comes Alone, which sounds like a horror movie to
It
me.
does. Yeah, exactly.
That's really good. Um, in Russia, the movie Silver Linings Playbook. This is
Uh-huh.
good. I've never seen this movie, but I know of the movie. I kind of know what it's about. In Russia, it's called My Boyfriend's a Psycho.
Uh,
That's good, right? Uh,
yeah.
Jaws in France was The Teeth of the Sea.
Okay. Well, that's
That sounds good. It's
okay.
almost like one of Quint's sea shanties. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so in Germany, the movie Airplane was called The Incredible Journey in a Crazy Plane. And for Airplane, it's actually funny because in Croatia, France, and Peru, they all had some version of "Is there a pilot on this plane?" as the title. And I don't know if you knew this, but I just learned this. The working title of Airplane was called Kentucky Fried Airplane
No,
because
I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, because it was made by the same people who made Kentucky Fried Movie.
Fine. Cool.
Yeah. You'll like this one. The biopic Nixon
Yeah.
was called in China Big Liar.
Okay, that's about right. Yeah.
And there were a lot of different titles for this one, but I picked in Norway. Die Hard, the title was Action Skyscraper.
Action skyscraper. Okay, that's
That's very good. So those are and I was looking at these and I was like, I don't know, I've got like 10. Is that too many? I guess I'll have to do more another time.
yeah.
And so that also led me to a couple of other movie things. My next one is like a little bit of behind the scenes stuff, which I will do another version of, I'll do another segment of later because there's so rich
Mhm.
in data. But like from the Matrix, the green code that's like cascading down the screen and all the computers
Yep.
made it look
Hmm.
really cool.
Yep.
Did you know that that was actually like just like Japanese recipes?
No.
The guy was looking through like his wife's cookbook and saw like the characters, the kanji. I thought it looked really cool, so he thought he'd make this cool computer cascading code, but make it with like kanji symbols.
Hmm.
but he basically copied the cookbook. So it's like sushi recipes and stuff. And so I have a couple of little behind the scenes things that I didn't know. One of them I knew, but a couple I didn't know. So during filming of The Wizard of Oz,
Hmm.
this is so cool. The costume designer was looking for like a tattered coat for the wizard to wear, when
Hmm.
he was the regular dude, don't look behind the curtain and all that. And she found this really cool one in a thrift store. So she bought it and brought it to the studio and then looked at it. And in the pocket of this coat was the name L. Frank Baum, who wrote The Wizard of Oz. And they were like, nah, this can't be. And he wore that coat in the movie. And they confirmed it later. His widow confirmed, yeah, that was my husband's coat.
Wow, that's a coinky dink.
Isn't that neat? Uh,
Yes, it
did I
is.
tell you? Did I tell you Richard bought me another peacoat?
No, yeah,
He
I
he
did
did
got just
because
one.
the one he got me is a little small for me, so he
Hmm.
found me a bigger one.
Okay.
And the guy who sent the coat also sent a bundle of letters. Just I have
Oh,
these here. You might be interested for free, and they're all letters from the 40s
wow.
written between this guy who was away and his family. So the first one I read was his sister, who was either like maybe like a teenager, maybe like just graduated high school. She seems young, but she doesn't seem super young. Like she seems maybe early 20s, maybe late teens.
Yeah.
She's writing him, and they really long letters too. But it's really cool because she's using all this like 40s slang and
Huh.
chit chat and stuff and telling out all kinds of like gossip about the town to her brother
Wow.
who's like away in I think probably France at that time.
Hmm.
But it's really really cool. There's like 10 letters that they gave me. So I
Wow.
haven't read them all. Yeah. Really neat stuff. But I want more. I want this guy to send me more stuff. But anyway, that was cool. So the next one in Guardians of the Galaxy,
Hmm.
I already knew this one. You may already know this one. That some of the scenes had to have several takes
Hmm.
because Chris Pratt kept making pew 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 noises
Oh, yeah, I heard
whenever he
about
was
that.
shooting the guns.
Yeah.
And you could totally see him do it. He's just that
Oh,
much of a
absolutely see him doing that. Yes.
just that
Yeah.
much of a douchebag that he's doing that. um okay, so Life of Brian. I don't know if you remember the scene where, Brian is trying to shake off all these followers at one point, right?
Hmm.
He's got all these people following him. They think he's the new Messiah, and he wants them to leave him alone. So he starts saying, like, you're all individuals. And they're like, yes, we're all individuals. and, he's, and so this one line when he's saying that, he says, you're all individuals. The whole crowd says, yes, we're all individuals. And one guy goes, I'm not. And so very good bit, right?
Yes.
That was an improvised line from an extra who then had to be put in the credits and given money because now they're a actor with a line.
Yeah. That's hey, a lot of times that's like that. A lot of
Yeah,
these things
because
that are improvised.
yeah, and so because it was good enough to keep, they had to pay the guy.
Yeah. There you go.
And then the last one, I think you'll like this one in Goodfellas.
Mhm.
So the dinner scene, they're all eating like spaghetti.
Yep.
That spaghetti was made by Scorsese's mother.
Wow.
Like, well, she just made
That's
spaghetti
right.
for everyone for
There
that
you
scene.
go. I'm cooking for everybody.
Sounds familiar, right? You have to, oh, now I have to cook for everybody. It's 3 in the
Yeah,
morning.
exactly. Yep. Yep.
Exactly. Yes. And so the last thing I have is credits. Now, this is another one that I'm going to have to expand on another time too. I didn't realize how many extras and Easter eggs were in credits, but do you wait like and watch the credits if possible to see all the funny stuff?
Depends on the movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's familiar with like Ferris Bueller at the end of the movie. He like
Yeah.
comes out of his room. He's like, "What are you still doing here? The movie's over." And Deadpool
Yep.
did a version of that too
Yep. Mhm.
later. Some of the big movies that have done this obviously are comedy movies. Like all the Naked Gun movies have really good credits.
Oh yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah, that have like really, really funny thing. You just have to watch the whole thing. There was one that was like, the owner of a Honda Civic, your parking lot, your lights are on, that kind of thing. But in the credits of Airplane, there's a lot of funny parts in the credits of Airplane. But one little thing that comes up on a lot of lists, Hitler is in the credits of Airplane as,
Really?
yeah, he's listed as worst boy, right under best boy. And a couple
Uh,
of other ones which you would like. I don't know if you remember this one, but the movie Help,
yeah.
in the credits, they say the following: This film is is respectfully dedicated to the memory of Mr. Elias Howe, who in 1846 invented the sewing machine. And of course, everybody knows, like, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the beginning credits are like, I don't know, 10 minutes long because it starts off with credits and then there's
Yeah.
like this little joke in the credits. It starts talking about a moose and then it goes off the rails, all this moose stuff.
So it's yeah, which is
And then they
Monty
stop
Python classic. Yeah.
yes, and then they stop the credits. They're like, "We apologize for the credits. The people responsible have been sacked." And then they start the credits up again, and they're like, "Once a moose bit my sister," and then the whole thing starts all over again.
Again.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, we apologize for the apology, and we apologize again, and we've made whole new credits at great expense and at the last minute." And there's like a silly credits, and I don't know if you remember if you remember this, but I've watched this movie so many times, but in Holy Grail, one of the credits is like, it's like the statement of, like, the thing in this teleplay has been fictionalized, blah 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 blah, and it's a
Mhm.
long paragraph, and then it says at the bottom, signed Richard M. Nixon.
Uh,
That's very good. And then
yeah.
the last one is Kevin Smith, in the credits of Mallrats, thanked his parents for having sex all those years ago. Thanks.
Yeah. Some coincidences.
Oh,
I
okay.
call them coinky dinks.
Twinkie Dinks, yeah.
Yeah. Edgar Allan Poe, uh, his only novel, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket,
Yes.
he describes four shipwreck survivors who drew lots to decide which one would be eaten.
Yes.
The loser was a boy named Richard Parker.
Yes.
In 1884, the real shipwreck of the Minuet resulted in a similar situation, with the crew drawing lots and eating the loser, a cabin boy named Richard Parker.
Richard Parker. I remember reading that once. Isn't that
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, it is cool. This one, yeah, I don't take much credence to this because it can happen with anybody because there's nothing to back it up. 1979, a man who survived the sinking of a ship called the Patria was later interviewed on a radio program. During the broadcast, a listener called in, revealing he had also survived the sinking of the same ship. Sometimes those things are like,
Oh, sure.
sure,
Yeah.
There's 1975, a 17-year-old boy who was saved from drowning the English Channel by a man named Trevor Reese. A year later, the same boy fell into the pond in a park, and Reese, who happened to be nearby, saved him again.
Wow.
It was in 2009. Laura Buxton released a balloon with her name and address written on it, and it was found by another girl named Laura Buxton, who lived 140 miles away.
That's cool. I love that.
That was a cool one.
Yeah.
This one here is kind of an oddity. Actually, I saw this twice, and they worded it differently. In 1975, Ernest Lawrence Ibben was struck and killed by a taxi in Hamilton, Bermuda. Exactly 1 year later, his brother Neville Ibben was also struck and killed by a taxi in the same location. In both accidents, the same taxi driver was behind the wheel, carrying the same passenger.
Oh, shit. That's not good.
Something, yeah. I like that one. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Hoover Dam, not for the person it happened to, the Hoover Dam construction project claimed the lives of 112 workers.
Yeah.
The first death occurred on December 20th, 1922, when J.G. Tierney drowned. The last death was on December 20th, 1935, when J.G. Tierney's son, Patrick, also drowned.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So, there's, this is sort of a odd discussion, was that I was watching, it's a new series, Land's End or something, Land's Mind or something like that, with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, yeah.
in one of the things he was talking, about, there was a wind farm, and he was going, his twist on it was that, these are generated by the oil industry to make people realize that oil is more efficient than wind. And his whole thing was, it's really not a reliable source, and it costs a lot to build them, and it costs a tremendous amount to maintain them. So I decided to look it up, and there's a lot of myths about it, and not a lot of misses, but a lot of myths. You know, turbines kill too many birds.
Right, right.
0.01%. I mean, if you think about it, for the most part, they don't move that fast. But when they do move that fast, I would imagine that can happen easily enough. The other myth is they're not recyclable, which is part of what Billy Bob Thornton was saying in his thing. But 90% of the components for wind turbines, including metal and electrical systems, are all recyclable.
Right. And also, by the way, how many birds have died because of oil spills?
Right. So that's, yeah, they create far less, emissions than fossil fuels, which is a given.
Yeah.
They don't destroy landscapes. It's, some people say it's not a reliable wind source, but wind has been used for many, many, many years.
Yes.
as a source of power. Think about, obviously, windmills, but
Right.
think about the ones that would generate water flow.
Right.
Wind and water would also move things. That's a different kind of an issue. They do not work in low wind. They do work in low wind. The speeds are very, very, very low, 1 to 2 miles an hour, and they would work.
Yeah.
The thing that sort of gets me a little bit about it is, which I didn't realize, is they're actually they're built higher than the Statue of Liberty. And the reason for that is because obviously the wind is much more intense at the higher elevations.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. And they're not noisy, et cetera, and so forth. But it was, I decided to, just look into that a little bit, look at the myths, and
No,
just
that's
see
good. And it's kind of sad, actually. I mean, not to get technically political, but it is a fact that a lot of the things that were that you just disproved, those things were said for political reasons. Those are said to
Absolutely.
persuade people from voting for those kinds of things, because obviously it would be in the interest of oil companies to not have a better source of power.
Right.
And it's just kind of sad that you can say, like, that you can actually nowadays use, it's propaganda, but that kind
Right.
of influence to, because you're so afraid of your business prospects. It's like, listen, if I were an oil baron or whatever, I guess
Yep.
I'm a different person, so I wouldn't be an oil baron. But if I ended up being some sort of oil baron, I would be thinking of ways to get in on that game instead of trying to make it not happen. You can't stop progress. Just get in on it if you want to be rich,
Yeah. One of the other things that he had said in this series, which I thought really came to the crux of the matter,
Yeah.
is that oil. He'd say, "What happens when the oil runs out?" He said, "Well, we'll know what happens when it runs out." In other words, it's a knee-jerk reaction, just like anything else. And
Right.
back to the political thing, my way of looking at anything that is more efficient, it takes time to develop it, and in the process of developing it, it becomes more efficient, the more
Right.
development that goes into it. It's like gas engines. They have been around for 100 years or more, right?
Right.
And they didn't develop overnight.
No.
So any kind of an energy is going to take time to develop. And obviously, the first thing that happens is people talk about the cost. Well, what's the cost of not doing anything, what's the cost of waiting till you have no other choice?
That's the thing. How much is it going to cost when you have to do it, as opposed to when you can start looking into doing it earlier?
Right.
And when you're developing stuff way ahead of when you need to, and you
Yeah.
discover that it's good, what's the problem?
Yeah.
It's just rich people who are afraid. And like I said, if they really wanted to be rich people and you're influential, use your influence to get in on it. Like,
Yeah. I that's why my way of I kind of look at the thing like sort of I'm personally a little bit negative on the push for electric cars too soon. I
well, like
think that
100% electric. Yeah, we're
exactly
not we're
that's
not quite ready for it. Yeah.
we're not quite ready. Go back to what I said about developing gas engines. It's taken hundreds of years to get it to the point where it is now. So electric can get to that point, but it's going to take a long time and a lot of development until you solve that issue.
Right. You have to have more
Then
infrastructure underneath it first before you can.
exactly the infrastructure. So while I believe that the long term look has to be there,
Mhm.
making it short and immediate and setting a date for it to happen
Yeah.
is unrealistic.
Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah, I was going to say it's hard because everything is a business now.
Yep.
It's not just a scientific endeavor, right?
Right.
It's not just a development. Now
Right.
everything has to be a successful business model. And so to do so, it has to be basically advertised,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be convincingly advertised, and it has to be a hit. That's the
Yeah.
problem. All we have to do is look back on Victorian times and see all the weird shit that started to come out with the industrial age.
Yep.
When they were first starting to figure out electricity and things like that.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy stuff. And you know, we could even talk about the radium stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
they tried to make it a thing too soon before they knew enough about it, and
Right.
then it turns into a flop or disaster or big problem.
Yeah.
It's because you can't just you can't just make a thing anymore. It can't just be invented anymore, and it definitely can't be given to the people anymore.
Right.
It's like it has to be a business model, and it has to be the next best thing that makes somebody super mega rich, but only like one person, and so it has to be huge. And it's like
Yeah.
that's unfortunate because we could make progress in different ways without that burden.
Without that burden, I think
Yeah.
the way to back to what about my basic premise is that the way to look at it is it has to be long term anything you come up with because ideas, while a lot of ideas are very brilliant, the practicality of them isn't obvious when you first have the idea. So you have to start working on it. And I think there's a common argument is that development costs a lot of money
Mm,
and also makes the product when it first comes out very expensive.
right.
Let's talk about tape recorders,
Yeah,
CD players, you
VCRs,
name it. They were so
everything.
expensive when they first came out, and because there was cost to develop them, and then when they overcame the cost of development, and then they became more efficient in their manufacturing, then the price points came down.
This is why people have cars nowadays because of Ford developing a system to make them more efficiently so that
Mm-hmm.
people could actually own them instead of just super rich people, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
that's the reason why we have cars. You know,
Yep.
I don't want to give like Henry Ford a lot of credit because he's already gotten plenty of credit and he was not a nice person. But
Mm-hmm.
but it's true that if Henry Ford hadn't done what he did and developed the sort of system that he developed for the manufacturing of cars,
Mm-hmm.
there probably wouldn't be everybody would have one or two. You know, imagine
Yeah.
everybody having two. You imagine going back and telling Henry Ford, actually, everybody's going to have two, and some people are going to have a day driver in their weekend
Yeah.
car. They're like,
Yeah.
nah, come on. Everybody
Yeah.
has one, and your color choices are black and black.
Yeah. 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 And now it's just yeah. And yeah, it's amazing, that how it's progressed, but it takes years and years and years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've
Yeah,
Got that one?
we
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
I got
That was a
nothing
sort of a
else.
digression. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. I like digressions. We listen, this is our brand here, like it or not.
Yeah.
So 10 of you do, and the rest of you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are most of our contributions for today, folks. So if you want to send us an email, mochiverse@gmail.com, MOCCIAVERSE@gmail.com. You can come and subscribe to us on all the platforms. If you wanted to go to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating, that would be awesome. People can see us. There, you can also check us out on YouTube because we're starting to get a couple of subscribers there.
Mhm.
And although you're not going to see us, you can hear us on YouTube, which a lot of people do. And you could subscribe to us there and get the same content while you're on YouTube doing other YouTube things. And so, like I said, that is most of our contributions for today. But there is one more, and that is in the form of dad jokes.
Yeah. Get ready to roll your eyes.
Yes.
A man once got served a rabbit stew and said, "Excuse me, there's a hair in my stew."
Good.
When is a door not a door?
When it's a jar.
There you go. Why do they call Usain Bolt a fruit?
Why?
Because you can see that man go.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Why did the goose have an easier time crossing the road than the chicken?
Why?
It could honk.
Oh, man, that's nice.
A man, listen, this is sad. A man died today when a pile of books fell on him.
Oh.
Yeah, he only had his shelf to blame.
Ah, very good.
I don't know. Dad at breakfast. I'll have bacon and eggs, please. The waiter says, "How do you like your eggs?" I don't know. I haven't gotten them yet.
Exactly.
You have to think about this one. What does Alexander the Great and Winnie the Pooh have in common?
What?
They both have the same middle name.
That's true. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah. I love my furniture. My recliner and I go way back.
Way back.
Okay, listen, I admit this. Maybe naming my dog Shark and take him to the beach wasn't a good idea.
He's in the pond. He's in the pond.
What did the angry cake say?
What?
You want a piece of me?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Jumper Cable walks into a bar. Bartender says, "I'll serve you, but don't start anything."
Yeah. That's good. These are good ones today.
Yeah. What do you call a dog with no legs?
What?
It doesn't matter what you call it. It still won't come.
It still won't come. Aw, poor doggy.
Yeah. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Doorbell repairman.
Doorbell repairman. Who?
That's the answer. I have an inferiority complex, but it's not a very good one.
No.
Yeah. What can be swallowed, but can also swallow you?
Your pride.
There you go. Good one. Good
Oh,
one.
that's deep.
Yeah, it is deep. What can you hold without never touching?
What?
A conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Mm. What can you make that no one can see?
What?
Noise.
Noise.
Yeah. I'm working on a bunch of jokes about wind, but they're currently saved as drafts. I was going to tell a joke about the wind, but it blows.
Yeah.
I used to know a joke about the wind, but I keep breaking it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
See, I should have used this one first. I met a guy who doesn't like wind turbines. I told him I'm a big fan. And what did the wind turbine say to the engineer?
What?
"I'm a big fan of your work."
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I know. The wind told me to do something, but I didn't want to get carried away.
No, see.
No.
These are very Don
Oh,
Quixote type jokes.
yeah, there we go. Okay.
All right.
You're painful enough.
Yeah, no, that's plenty. That's all we have for you today, folks. See you in a
Okay.
couple of weeks. Bye.
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 Ciao.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I've got a little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather have a big bow wow.
Huh? Can you hear
She
it?
watching TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is. Let me close the door.
From the sounds of it, she's going to rival you pretty soon with the hearing loss thing. That was loud.